See if we can get you moving this morning. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. If you want more love, give love. If you want more joy, then give joy. If you want more peace, give peace. If you want more, then give. If you want more, then give. If you want more money, give money. If you want more time, give time. If you want more friends, then be a friend. If you want more, then give. If you want more, then give. When you receive, it's as simple as that. There's no effort, no struggle, it's just a simple fact. If you want to see change, then be a change. If you want more truth, then you gotta speak your truth. If you want gratitude, then you gotta give thanks. If you want more, then give. If you want more, then you got to give. When you receive, it's as simple as that. There's no effort, no struggle, it's just a simple fact. If you want more love, then give love. If you want more joy, you gotta give joy. If you want peace, you gotta be the peace. If you want more, then give. If you want more, then you got to give. You want more, then you know you got to give. Yeah, yeah. If you want more, then give. If you want more, then give. Ooh, you've got to give. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to see you all. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Anthony Prado. And first of all, I'd like to give it up to our fantastic, amazing musicians, Omega Ray and Kev Choice. We also want to give love to our awesome sound engineer, Jimmy Tizell, in the back, making this media production possible. So welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we teach spiritual principles and practices that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all life. Some of you may notice in the last couple of months we've been acknowledging the land we've been living on, standing on. So we are now including that in our announcement. So we respectfully acknowledge that here in the Bay Area, we are gathered on the traditional land of the indigenous Ohlone people. We honor and respect, and with gratitude, the land itself and the people who've stewarded these lands for countless generations. We have a special welcome for anyone joining us for the first time. Anybody here for the first time? Someone over there. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Someone's going to give you a packet, a welcoming packet there. And also a big welcome to anyone watching us on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you for joining us wherever you are, whenever you are. And if you're watching us or you're here for the first time, we encourage you to sign up for our weekly newsletter. So you can learn about everything we do around here. As a reminder, and this is our health notice, if you're experiencing any kind of flu or cold or COVID symptoms, please tune in on YouTube or Facebook to watch the service, Facebook Live, instead of coming to the service in person. And thank you for signing in before coming into the service and wearing masks, covering your nose and mouth while indoors. We appreciate every effort to keep us safe and healthy. So we come to this part of our services where we honor the children. Here we are. Okay. We bless the children in our community and the world. We love you. We see you. We know the truth of who you are. You are expressions of God, and we are grateful to have you here in our lives. And so it is. The children of the world and the children of all ages. Calm, the compassionate attention to loss ministry meets today after service at 1 p.m. on Zoom. For the new Zoom link, go to the Calm page under groups in our website. This Wednesday, April 5th, practitioner Christopher Brown will follow up from Sunday and continue the discussion of vulnerability, defining, and aligning. Meditation is at 6:30 and service is at 7 p.m. and it is on Zoom, as you know. The bookstore is filled with new merchandise. Check it out. For April, the bookstore is featuring the book The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown. For the celebration of Earth Day, all gemstones and Tree of Life are 30% off. Earth Day is April 22nd. The Loving Stewards of Mother Earth Ministry are inviting you to join them on Saturday, April 15th, with a rain date of April 22nd, I see, from 10 to 12 at Arrowhead Marsh Garrettson staging area. We will do a cleanup, some bird watching, and enjoy fellowship in nature. Check the Village News and events page for more details. So if you want to stand and join us for reciting our mission statement now. The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, and play. So it is. Thank you all. Now we'll have our pulpit assistant come up.
Good morning, good morning. Wow, nice group of folks. This is fabulous. Well, my name is Teresa Gardner, and I am a licensed prayer practitioner here, and it's good to be with you today. So why don't we just settle in? We have some really good readings. Brené Brown is our first reading. Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. And Eckhart Tolle. When the basis for your actions is inner alignment with the present moment, your actions become empowered by the intelligence of life itself. Just breathing that in. That intelligent life, that one life, that one power, that one presence that is right here, right now. The beloved, that wise, intelligent creator, back of all, that ground of all being. That is our life. That creator that has created us. We are in the mind and heart of God, of love. I'm so grateful to know that this is my life, this is our life. As we open this day for the blessing of Reverend Catherine, as she delivers the wisdom that flows easily through her and into our hearts, into our mind, as we open up in vulnerability today. Oh, that power of presence and vulnerability. This is a good day, and we bless all the hands and hearts that have given of themselves to make this service be a beacon of light for ourselves and for all others. It is a good day, and we rejoice in it. We celebrate it with great thanks. We settle in, and we let go and open. Let God. And so it is. Ashe.
You are where I go to hide when the wind starts to blow, when the lightning starts to strike, when the thunder starts to roll, when this life becomes a fight. You are where I put my gloves down when I'm running out of time. You are where I go to slow down. You are my favorite place. You are my sacred space. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Where I go be moved, where I go to be still. Your love makes me new. In your presence I heal. You are my favorite place. You are my sacred space. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. No walls, no war, no cause, no weapons formed, no love are where I go to heal. You are where I go to feel, to remember what is real. Ooh. You are my favorite place. You are my sacred space. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are my sacred space. You are my favorite place. Oh, yeah. Yes, you are. 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 My sacred space, my favorite place, my sacred space, my favorite place. Yeah. Thank you.
Kev Choice and Omega Ray. I also want to add my welcome to you. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. And I am up here, not as the speaker, but to introduce our speaker who needs no introduction. But listen, for me, even our own, I can dote all over him if I want to. Everybody deserves recognition, and even though some of you, many of you know our speaker, Reverend Catherine Sachs, I wanted to add my 2 cents, my 4 cents, maybe 5, to the equation. Reverend Catherine and I go back quite a ways, and we were in ministerial school together, and she's been a minister at large around the Bay Area, not only at Golden Gate in San Francisco, she was here, she speaks at Home of Truth, she speaks other places, and yet, we're her home. She told me so, that's a quote, since 1994. I so appreciate you. She's taught our practitioner students in classes, and I'm delighted to have her in our suite of ministers here at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Please welcome Reverend Catherine Sachs.
Good morning, everyone. 1 second. Thank you so much. I was so delighted that Reverend Sunshine invited me to speak because I miss you guys. I miss you guys. It's lovely to be here again. Hi, everybody out home. Hi, everybody here. All of those wonderful things. So, vulnerability, right? You know, we here at Oakland Center have been using mostly the monthly themes and topics that our parent organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, have been offering so that we have a consistent message. And usually they're doing really good stuff. It's been very, very productive and helpful to have these things. But sometimes I wonder what the heck they were thinking of. Like today, for example, vulnerability? Yeah. Well, yesterday was April Fool's Day, this is April Fool's weekend, and I thought, how appropriate. I mean, really, come on. Letting oneself be vulnerable, right? Defining it, what it is not, how important it is. And I'm going, yeah, right. So I looked up my own definition of vulnerability in just a regular dictionary. And this is what it said. The quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. How fun is that? So, to say I had my doubts and my resistance to this topic is an understatement. So when I was looking at this material, Centers for Spiritual Living then suggested we look upon this whole thing of vulnerability as an adventure. And that they went on to say that when you're doing an adventure, it's really important to know where you are and where you're going. Given my resistance to this, the first thing I thought of when I was reading that was that old joke about the famous navigator Christopher Columbus, who didn't know where he was going, and when he got there, he didn't know where he was. I did not want to repeat that experience here in front of all of you. But being a longtime practitioner, being a minister of religious science, I took that breath, I went within, and I slowly unclenched my predispositions and my preconceptions about vulnerability. Obviously, if this topic pressed my buttons so much, I had a lot to learn about it. So the idea is that this month, we're going to work towards a greater understanding the power of vulnerability, which I thought was an oxymoron, the power of vulnerability. But again, it's the what it is not, and why it's important. So I invite you to do as I did, take that breath, relax and release, and let's open to some new ideas and a new perspective about something that pressed my button. Let's begin with the science of mind point of view. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, wrote this: every one of us has in back of us the potential of the universe. There is an irresistible potential pressing against everyone for self-expression. If we listen, we shall hear it, not as a voice, but as a feeling, as a divine urge to express. Now, whether we think in those kinds of eloquent words or not, I think each of us has felt that deep desire to express what we came here to be, even if we're not sure what that is. If nothing else, I know we have all felt the oppression and discomfort of people and society doing their best to keep us confined to a box that they can label and then set aside. Right? I know that over this past month we've been talking a lot, about risk and scaring and daring, as we've talked about living an authentic life, being one's authenticity self, right? Stepping up and out, living out loud in ways that dissolve and neutralize opposition. Being one's authentic self, very daring and very empowering. But as I approached this subject today, I think that we are now going a little bit farther back in that journey, and we're taking an earlier, perhaps first step in the path to authenticity. When we shout to someone, "Look at me," we are placing ourselves upon an altar to be either sacrificed or honored. Yes, scare, risk, dare. We speak often about being burned by a person or an experience. Been there, done that, have the scars to prove it. But here I am today, and we'll speak more about that in a moment. So as I was dealing with all of this, I went back to Brene Brown, and she has a definition of vulnerability that helped me breathe more easily and to see the deeper truth. Brene Brown said vulnerability is a state of emotional exposure that comes with a certain degree of uncertainty. It involves a person's willingness to accept the emotional risk that comes from being open and willing to love and be loved. Open and willing to love and be loved. That's why we're here, folks. To love and be loved. Not to hide in a closed room with the blinds drawn so that we stay safe. Right? And not to let others confine us in that box that they can set aside, close the door, and pretend we don't exist. Recently, I heard someone say something like, "We are here to do great things." And frankly, that intimidates the heck out of me. I kind of prefer Mother Teresa, who said, "We cannot all do great things, but we can all do small things with great love." Yeah? And who defines great anyway? Back to that word love. Maybe your guardian angel has already checked off the box that says great things when you stopped to rescue an abandoned or hurt animal. Or maybe when you did something as simple as giving up your seat on the bus or the BART to an older person carrying heavy bags. It's all about love. And I do believe that from my experience, we often don't give ourselves credit for the small acts of loving kindness that we do, unthinkingly, that make a huge difference in somebody's life. Going back to what Ernest Holmes said, that there is within us that impulse to manifest in our lives what we are constantly receiving. We are emanations and expressions of the divine, which is ceaselessly creating of itself out of love because it loves so much it can't not. And so the overspilling of that love is us. You know, before the service, I was talking with Reverend Sunshine about my Catholic background. Really deeply Catholic. A lot of nuns. And there was one thing that in my Catholic background I remember deeply. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. At the time, that was very meaningful to me. But over the years, as I've come to religious science and New Thought, I have translated that very differently. For God so loves the world that it gives itself to every bit of it all the time. Each of us is a divine expression and child of that one. We are that in our deepest essence. You know, but as we go about living our mundane human lives in this world of hard matter, how do we dive into that flow, which is our deeper essence, that flow of love? Well, I have come to think then that vulnerability is the entrance fee for swimming in the ocean of love. Meister Eckhart, my favorite mystic of all time, advised us that if we want to feel our oneness with God, we have to remember this. The shell must be cracked open if what is inside is to come out. If you want the kernel, you must break the shell. We must learn to break through things if we want to grasp God in them. So, vulnerability becomes the necessary precursor to both self-expression and connection. If we must break the shell to grasp God and others, then we must allow ourselves to be cracked open so that others can see the divinity in us as well. It's not easy. God knows we have grown up with a lot of societal and cultural influences that create many barriers to the actualization of this spiritual practice called vulnerability. I've crashed into those barriers. I remember one time I did risk being vulnerable with someone who, instead of supporting me and empathizing with me, used what I told her to make herself look good and me look bad. Did that hurt? Oh, hell yeah. It was awful. And maybe that remembrance of that experience was part of my resistance to opening up to this whole topic back at the time. But as I said before, here I am. Because over my 73 years and counting of life, I have found that more often than not, my being willing to open me up and show my vulnerability to someone creates something wonderful between me and them, or even between me, myself, and I. That vulnerable underbelly. So it is possible to tap into that power of vulnerability. And when we do, pretty amazing things take place. We do it here in this community all the time. If you've been coming to Oakland Center for any time at all, you have probably taken at least one class, one workshop, you've entered one discussion group, and you will know that with every group, we begin by creating ground rules that ask us to be vulnerable to and with each other. Together, we are committed then to creating a safe space where all the participants can feel safe enough to be seen and heard without judgment or blame or shame. It's a good experience. And as we allow ourselves to be vulnerable together, we create a really incredible environment in which all people, all the participants can thrive and grow into greater expressions of who they are. These spaces that we create when we come together are transformative containers of love that show us possibilities that we may never have realized had we stayed in our closed rooms with the blinds drawn. Now, we talked about what vulnerability is and what it is not. That's what we're going to be talking about. So, let's be clear, though. Vulnerability is not about dumping or sharing inappropriate amounts of personal information or emotions with wild abandon. You know that TMI look that you give or we get when this happens. Yeah. It's not an ego trip saying, look at me, I'm sharing all about myself and isn't that special? No. And it isn't about exposing one's pain so that we get sympathy and understanding and we're getting admired for how well we've endured suffering. It's not that at all. And nor when we were out in the world and not in a safe space the way we create them here at Oakland Center, is it about letting ourselves become a mat for people to walk on so that they feel better because we feel less. To be vulnerable, people, is not to be without boundaries. It's a spiritual practice, not a weakness. right? It is a conscious choice to express thoughts, feelings, and desires in a way that nurture our authentic lives. That wonderful adjective, authentic, that Reverend Sunshine speaks so much about. So the power of vulnerability does many things, really. It builds trust and intimacy in a relationship. It fosters empathy and understanding between people. It increases our sense of self-worth. It attracts those who will love and support us. And it finds or creates, as we do here, communities in which we can feel free to be whole, uncensored, and appreciated. Right here. You know, when I was listing what the power of vulnerability can do, and I wrote, or typed rather, increase our sense of self-worth. And then I was rereading this. I stopped and said, well, how in the heck does it does that? It had come out, but I hadn't thought about it. So I had to think about why. What does this mean? And this is what I came up with. When we look at our lives to identify where hustling for our own self-worth creates a huge chasm between who we are on the inside and what we project ourselves to be on the outside, something strange and wonderful happens. We begin to see ourselves with softer eyes, with a more forgiving and accepting attitude, right? Because we see our weaknesses and our strengths, and we're okay with both of them. And the more acute self-awareness that we're doing with this brings a greater appreciation for all that we are, our worth. Right? I deserve to be here. Yes, I am flawed, wonderfully so. But I'm also a very good person with gifts and talents that I want to share. And as I begin to increase my ability to see myself as enough, and pretty darn wonderful, with all my flaws and my warts and my strengths and my weaknesses, I develop a greater ability to see others in that same forgiving way. When we take this path, as we're increasing our own self-awareness of how we are, what we are, and we look out at others, we no longer ask, what's wrong with you? Instead, we may ask, what happened to you? You know, because we are living this human experience in the midst of hard matter, as I said before, frankly, we can only know and be known when we show how life has marked us. Just as learning to master the art of vulnerability guides us to being authentic and real, as we learn to do this, we are the light that guides others to finding this path as well. I'm sure you'll recognize this. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Who wrote that? Marianne Williamson. Yeah, exactly. Well, as I admitted, I began this talk, I approached it with fear and doubt. But I'm closing this talk with trust and confidence. Yes, my being vulnerable risks my being hurt. But how else can I connect to you or to others? I can only be my whole, entire self in true relationship to others when I remember that I was made to love and be loved. That requires others. I cannot be alone. No man or woman is an island. I might be a peninsula, but I'm not an island. Okay? My heart may be broken, but it heals. In fact, my heart has been broken more than once. And yes, it is healed, and it will again. And with every scar my heart bears from a sad or painful experience, the deeper my compassion grows for my fellow travelers, because all of you bear heart scars as well. Right? You know, when Jesus appeared to his disciples after his death and his resurrection coming up, he invited them to look upon his wounds. In fact, he even invited the disciple Thomas to place his hand in the wound in Jesus' side where the spear had pierced him. He did not try to hide his scars or his wounds. He bared them without shame. And in so doing, Jesus convinced his disciples that he was really there. All of him, the real thing. The authentic Yeshua, who cursed and withered a fig tree because it wouldn't give him fruit when he was hungry. The same Yeshua who overturned the money changers' tables in the temple in rage and fury. The same Yeshua who felt crushed by the burden of his life and asked his Father to take this cup away from me. No excuses, no rationalizations, no BS. Here I am, see me. May I be as brave and unashamed of who I am, scars and all. May I be open, vulnerable, and willing to risk in order to love and be loved. Look at me and let me see you. Namaste and peace. Thank you. It's time to pray, which is always so wonderful. So I invite the practitioners and ministers to surround the congregation so that we hold each other in this incredible, vibrant energy of loving acceptance and approval. So as we settle into this, I go within and touch that unceasing flow of love, which is my source, my essence. It created me, it loves me, it holds me up, it breathes through me, it is everything that I am, and by God, it feels good. And as I know this about myself, I know it about all people, and I accept and know that it is all those who have made requests to our ministry of prayer, because the answer is yes. In fact, the question itself, the willingness to expose the need, brings the love and the answer. So that in this box, you see vulnerability, power, and love in action. As we begin this month, I speak a word of love and support for our nonprofit organizations that you will hear more of from Reverend Sunshine, the 510 Hikers. I speak a word of gratitude. Oh my God, gratitude for the beauty and the resilience of our beloved Mother Earth. giving so much love and thanks to this gorgeous blue marble created by that one love to give us a place to thrive and grow, to learn, to fall down and get up again. I speak this word of gratitude and love of the youth of the world, knowing that they are inheritors of a lot of things that need to be taken care of. And I accept and know that in their youth and in their faith and their incredible courage, they do so with ease and God's grace working through each of them. All of those in service, creating this world that works for everyone, willing, able, loving, and being loved in return. I accept love, comfort, peace of mind, health, and healing. That flow of love, which is total, which it is the vitality of life expressing through everyone, particularly those impacted by challenges in any form right now, including those Jeanette Coburn, Chantal Rolfing, Ziska Hill, Lupe Copenda, Paul Prado, Anthony's brother, Morgan Sachs, our beloved Richard Robinson, whose memorial we had yesterday, and he was so here. We lift him up. I accept and know that in this infinite, unceasing flow of life and love that is the essence of all that is, peace is possible everywhere. In Ukraine, in all places where there are strife, violence, because what I accept and know is that underlying all of these temporary, transient experiences is a continuous, eternal flow of love, and I am that I am. And this is the successor, the victory, the yes that is life itself. We are held in safety. I know that. I am uplifted. I know that. And I know that for each person. And that God's love, that flow of life, manifests for each of us according to our hearts and our soul's deepest desires. Because we are here to be that, to do that, and to offer it to each other. How good it is. How grateful I am to see it, to feel it, to taste it, and to know that right here, right now, it's already done. So I can release this word, this prayer, all that has been said into that law of mine, which just keeps knitting and knitting and knitting and weaving the tapestry of life. Because as I step back and let it go, it's already done and done very, very well indeed. And if this feels right with you, please join me in blessing it by saying together, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Catherine. Thank you, ministers, practitioners, for the prayer. And now is our beautiful time, our opportunity to joyously give with conscious giving, which we love to do. Yay! There's many ways for us to give of ourselves, our treasures, here with this community. We'll show you how to do that momentarily. But meanwhile, we bless our offering. We do everything in prayer. And so those of us who have already created an automatic way to give, there are these in the seat pockets that we can bless our offering. And if you're preparing your offering, or if you're going to give online, which we'll show you how to do, we still bless our offering. So we can just put that over our hearts and let us together say our affirmation. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. And here are the ways that you can give to this particular Community Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. If you go to our website at oaklandcsl.org and click Donate, then you will be taken to a page that allows you to donate by card, or you can give by Zelle or text. And momentarily, we're going to have you come up, and if you so choose, you can put your offering in the basket. So this is our opportunity to get in the giving game, as I love to say. You can't outgive God, so we're just given a portion so that we can give back and say, God, I'm ready for more. And I give more, and I get more. You see how that goes? So as Kev plays some keys, we're going to invite you in the sanctuary, if you are willing, to come up and just, even if you don't have anything to give, you can come bless the baskets. And thank you for your giving.
Sometimes I may cry that the world
just love our music and our musicians. Luke, Omega Ray, and Kev Choice. Before we close out our service, I'm here to do 2 brief presentations. The first, we had a joyous celebration that I'm still on the vibration of last week with our installation. I say our installation. Yes, I was installed as the new senior minister. I'm not new anymore, but kinda. And it was our community celebration, which was just lovely. And I want to acknowledge someone in particular who I wouldn't have oriented nearly as deeply, as quickly, and as well without her support. Our administrative coordinator and education coordinator, Constance Chapman, who has, let me dote just a minute. I'll call you up in a moment. Rather than make you stand up here and have to, in front of everybody. And even before I was announced to the community, Constance was reaching out to me about my email address, about my office and what supplies I needed, and about getting a computer and getting my printer set up, and what classes did I want to teach, and making sure that I was set up for the open forum and the annual meeting and the board meetings, and the list goes on and on and on. And I just want to, I simply want to acknowledge you publicly, Constance, for your efforts, for your care, and for helping me to get situated and up and running, and being flexible with my ideas and my newness and wanting and my vision, because we're rolling, and you've been rolling with me, and I appreciate that. So now, if you would, come up, please, Constance Chapman. Let's give her a hand as she comes up. It takes a village, and we have one. We have an awesome one, too. And so the next presentation, really, at the beginning of the month is our time to embrace our arms around a nonprofit partner that was selected from a committee, that was nominated and selected, and I'm delighted to acknowledge the 510 hikers are who we are supporting this month. And the founder of 510 hikers, Nicholas Collins, is going to come up and talk to us about what his organization does for underrepresented people in the Bay Area to be familiar with nature and to get out there on the trails. He let me know that he said it very affirmatively. He was smooth too. When I was talking to him behind, he said, I'll have you out on the trails and blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, okay. So welcome, please, Nicholas Collins.
Good morning, everyone. Great messages this morning. Great message. Great music. Great everything. I'm happy to be here. Oh, yes, of course. All right. Is that better? Okay. So, yes, great messages and music, and I'm feeling the love and certainly feeling the vibe. I see a lot of loving people here, some familiar faces, some ones I know and some ones I don't know yet. I hope to fix that in the coming weeks. I want to thank the committee for choosing 510 Hikers as the nonprofit of the month to support. It's important work that we've been doing the past 8 years. So I grew up in Oakland. I was a runner. I spent a lot of time on the trails by myself and with my family. One thing I noticed at an early age was the lack of diversity in the outdoors. I wondered how, in a city that was so diverse, that there was so few black people in nature. I could hike or run on any given day and not see more than a couple black people out. I decided to do some homework as to why. I learned that the first chiefs of the U.S. Forest Service back in 1898 practiced discrimination. Surprising, right? They believed parks and trails were created for only a select few. It led to discrimination practices in nature and the continued removal of indigenous people from their land. It also led to the narrative and stigma that Black people especially did not spend time in nature. Christian Cooper's birdwatching incident in New York was a recent example of typical discrimination we face in the outdoors. So I decided to make a conscious effort to do something not just for myself, but for others like me who face the same hurdles in enjoying time with birds, with the trees, with themselves, in a space made for all of us to enjoy. So what once started out as a gathering of just a few friends to get together has turned into and inspired thousands of people of color. And it's been great. Our partners on this mission have included REI, Patagonia, GU Energy Labs, Solomon Shoes, just to name a few. We have hiked in Canada, Cancun, Hawaii, the Grand Canyon, and everywhere in between with help from these partners. So, while the mission was ignited on the trails to fight the marginalization of us in nature, the trails have led to great works off the trails as well, between countless feeding the homeless events, clothes drives for the homeless, kids hikes. We do a yearly 5K in the Bay Area, as well as strong connections, a strong community built on authenticity and friendliness. 510 Hikers has been an intersection for so many to come, grow, heal, flourish, and expand. So you may see us in red in the photos on the trails. It's our color, it's bold. It says, we are out here, and we're together, and we're in unity. It's an important message to send, an important message to share. I was at the service last week, and I heard the term collective breath from one of the announcers, and I love that term. You walk into any bookstore these days, and you have a whole section on self-help. But you rarely see books on building communities and building relationships, which is a pathway to health as well. Like the lady said, no man is an island. Maybe a peninsula, but not an island. I love that. I love that. Despite all the technology that is out there, we live in an isolated world, and so many people are lonely and depressed. Let's face it, it could be hard making friends. So 510 Hikers has developed a community to create diverse friendships from all over the world that can help us learn, love, and live in a way that's life-changing. The work has just begun. The gap between people of color in nature and not remains wide. I invite you to help us break down the socioeconomic barriers that exist for people of color to get outdoors into these spaces that are necessary. People need to see people of color on mountaintops, in the outdoors, as much as anywhere else. Great challenges remain to change the stigma and narrative, but also great opportunities to hike, grow together, educate, and encourage people of color, especially in the outdoors. I invite you all to contribute in this mission, an important work of inclusion and diversity in the outdoors, in order to make the outdoors a space that was made for everyone. Thank you. Quickly, I will be in the back. I love conversation. I will talk your ear off. I also want to invite the Reverend and your team here, the community, to join our community at some point. You as well, Kev Choice. I've been waiting to see you, man, for sure. So I see you at the lake. I need to see you in the hills, okay? You are invited. As everyone here. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please.
How far have you spread? You started here, right? How far have you spread?
Great question. Our base 595 area code is centered in the Bay Area. However, we have groups that are spread out all over the West Coast at this point. I just finished getting back from Sedona hiking with a group, as a matter of fact, in Phoenix. just a couple weeks ago that the founder there made it a point to explain to me that he was inspired by seeing our group and seeing people of color in nature, and it led him to start his own group. And it was important for me to go out and visit him in Phoenix and, sharing the love and sharing the connection. It was important to see. It was beautiful to see. I learned as a visitor coming into a space that that is new to me. So not only did I learn, I had a great time. And we have hikes that are being organized this year in Los Angeles with a number of hike groups. Portland will be in Yellowstone this year. Wow, it's just a lot of fun to see what started a few years ago as, just maybe a few friends getting together and let's get out in nature and get fit and get, connected to, what we have now. Last thing, real quick, and that is I want everyone to feel comfortable knowing that we have multiple hike distances in most of the hikes that we do. So everyone's invited to come out and maybe hike a mile or maybe hike 5 miles, do whatever you can, whatever you like to do. Everyone's welcome to, to hike however far and however they can. It's perfectly welcome. Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone.
Wow, thank you, Nicholas. Thank you so much. That's a great mission. I love how spread out it's becoming. Yes, more of that. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. It's been a wonderful service today. We want to thank Reverend Catherine Sachs for her wonderful talk on vulnerability today. Yes. And our musicians, oh my goodness, Kev Choice, Omega Ray, as always. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is a lovely song, too, that I hadn't heard before. It was really, really great. And our meditator, Robin Rice Olmsted, beautiful, thank you. And Anthony Prado, thank you. Great host, thank you. And thank you, each one of us, for coming together today. It wouldn't be what we have today without you, so thank you. All right, well, our prayer practitioners, we love to pray, so we offer many services to support your well-being, such as you can go immediately after service, please, and come back and have a prayer in the back of the sanctuary. Also, the practitioners, we offer longer spiritual coaching sessions, so check our website out, or they're in the foyer of the social hall for contact info. And you can request prayer through the Ministry of Prayer on the website, or by placing a prayer in our prayer box in the back of the sanctuary. And, it's really a lovely thing. Please come back and join us today. It makes a difference in our lives, in your life, and in our life. So we want to remind everybody to exit immediately after the service. You can go back and talk to Nicholas. You can also come back and talk to Reverend Catherine Sachs about vulnerability. And don't forget the bookstore. We have such a great bookstore, don't we? Oh my gosh, there's a great sale going on today. Come and get your beautiful gemstone at 30% off. Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's do the closing affirmation. Here we go. If you want to stand, you're welcome to. All right, here we go. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. All right, thank you so much, and we have some more music coming. All right.
Please stand if you are able. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. All right, I hear you. Have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you, OCSL.